The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, founded in 2001, has become a key player on the global stage. As the international order shifts, what's next for the SCO and how will its members enhance cooperation? To figure out these questions, we spoke with Vladimir Norov, the former Secretary-General of the SCO. Hello, Mr. Norov. Nice to meet you. 2025 has been called the year of the SCO Sustainable Development. In what areas will members deepen cooperation to drive sustainability?
Thank you very much for your question. It is a great honor for me to answer to your question. In 2025, the SCO member states gave their work on sustainable development a systematic character, confirming this agenda through the decision of the Astana Summit and designating 2025 as the SCO Year of Sustainable Development. This is a logical continuation of the organization course towards practical, result-oriented cooperation, consistent with both the Shanghai spirit and the national strategies of member states. Above all, the deepening of cooperation in the green economy is expressed through concrete ministerial dialogues and institutional documents. Thus, on July 3 this year, at the 6th meeting of SCO Environment Ministers in Tianjin, a joint declarative document was signed, and the initiative on strengthening cooperation in the field of sustainable development was adopted. On June this year, 26-27, at the SCO Energy Ministers meeting in Ningbo, a project statement on sustainable energy development was agreed upon, and work continued on the energy strategy until 2030 roadmap adopted in Astana. In the spirit of practical policy, May 2025 was marked by the SCO Summit's Sustainable Development Forum in Tianjin, where 18 projects worth around 5 billion yuan were signed. A solid foundation was laid earlier in March last year in Beijing, when environmental experts discussed and prepared key documents on environmental protection and the Green Belt. All this demonstrates that ecological principles here are transformed into tangible practices, technologies, and investments rather than remaining mere declarations. In addition to this initiative, the digital economy is becoming one of the key accelerators of sustainability. In 2025, the SCO Digital Economy Forum was held in Tianjin, where states agreed to expand cooperation in data circulation, digital infrastructure, AI solution, and smart cities. New project agreements were concluded, including in cross-border e-commerce, making markets more accessible for small and medium-sized businesses and reducing transaction costs. There is also notable momentum. Imports via cross-border e-commerce channels among SCO countries grew at double-digit rates last year, while the China SCO demonstration zone in Qingdao increased trade turnover by more than a quarter in 2025, vivid examples of the organization's digital and logistic integration. It should be emphasized that the sustainability is impossible without connectivity. Here, the SCO is consistently advancing projects of both hard and soft infrastructure. The construction of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway will give an additional boost to the East-West corridor, opening up a shorter and more economical route for the region. At the same time, the parties agreed on steps to increase direct air connection, modernize border crossing, and simplify visa procedures. In other words, to eliminate bottlenecks in logistic and business mobility. All this forms a strong framework for trade diversification, resilient supply chains, and ultimately growth in people's income. It is important to underline that the SCO Year of Sustainable Development is not one-time slogan, but a mechanism for consolidating efforts across multilateral formats, sectoral platforms, and inter-regional projects. It builds trust, enhances the predictability of rules, and encourages the exchange of best practices, from green finance to digital literacy and data standardization. This approach reflects the foresight of the decision-taking. SCO states are not only agreeing on the goals, but also creating practical tools to achieve them, embedding the regional agenda into global trends of sustainable and inclusive development. I'm convinced that the consistent implementation of the agreements reached in ecology, digitalization, and connectivity will allow the organization to strengthen its role as a responsible center of growth across the Euro-Asian space, where the priority remains human well-being, balance of interest, and respect for sovereignty, the very pillars on which long-term sustainability is built.
The Tianjin Declaration is a key outcome document. What concrete guidance do you expect yet to provide for the SCO's future?
In my view, the Tianjin Declaration should become a programmatic document, not just another declaration, but a clear benchmark for comprehensive cooperation for years ahead. It should set specific guidelines in such priority areas as sustainable finance, industrial modernization, food and energy security. It is important that the declaration unites the political will of the leaders with the practical work of the alliance ministers and expert platforms, turning consensus into a well-coordinated system of action. The financial aspect deserves special emphasis. The idea of creating an SCO development bank and a special account has long been under discussion at the intergovernmental level. It would be logical for the declaration to enshrine the political will to accelerate the preparation of feasibility studies, define the principles of operation of such institution, and set out a transparent implementation schedule. This is not an alternative to existing mechanism, but rather a complement that will channel sustainable financing into organizations' projects. Already today, the SCO Interbank Consortium has supported more than 500 projects worth over $20 billion. The SCO Development Bank will expand these opportunities and ensure stability. Undoubtedly, the adoption of the Tianjin Declaration will have a direct and long-term impact on the SCO member states, including Uzbekistan. The document defines benchmarks in areas such as the green economy, energy sustainability, digital transformation, and the development of transport and logistic corridors. For Uzbekistan, this is especially significant as our country is actively advancing the national strategy Green Uzbekistan and the program to increase the share of renewable energy sources to 30% by 2030. Within the SCO framework, new opportunities are opening up for joint projects in solar and hydropower, digital technology exchange, and expanded transport connectivity through the international north-south and east-west corridors. All this will not only strengthen the region's economic potential, but also create a foundation for more sustainable development that meets the interests of future generations. That is precisely why the Tianjin Declaration should simultaneously serve as a strategic beacon, an embodiment of the Shanghai spirit and respect for sovereignty, and as a practical tool, giving the organization the capacity to turn political decisions into real actions. It is exactly this combination of vision and implementation that will allow the SCO to consolidate its role as a reliable center of growth and stability across the Euro-Asian space.
So what do you think about the future of the SCO? How can the SCO further align with the Belt and Road Initiative to enhance practical cooperation?
The future of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization appears truly bright and carefully integrated into architecture of the multipolar world. And the outcomes of recent high-level meetings have shown Three vectors remaining defining for the SCO: strengthening regional stability, expanding trade and economic partnership, and deepening cultural and humanitarian ties. While the organization unites around 42% of the world's population and generates more than 23% of the global GDP. In the context of alignment with the Belt and Road Initiative, a tangible synergistic effect is reproduced. Both platforms rest on the principles of mutual respect, consultation, and shared benefit. In practice, this is manifested primarily in three key areas. The first is undoubtedly digital transformation. In 2019, when I was Secretary-General of SCO, the concept of cooperation of SCO member states in the field of digitalization and information and communication technologies was adopted, confirmed at the Shanghai Summit in 2021. Within its framework, projects are being implemented to establish joint digital competence centers and develop smart cities, forming a modern digital infrastructure that is in demand both by the Belt and Road Initiative and by SCO's countries. Alongside this, green finance and energy sustainability are a priority in which the SCO, together with the institutional mechanism of the Belt and Road, is already financing more than 30 large renewable energy projects with a total value exceeding $15 billion. These initiatives include solar and wind power plants, modernization of power grids, and the introduction of environmental standards, key elements of the Green Silk Road. Equally important is the development of a multidimensional transport and logistic network. Here, cross-border hubs and integration of national projects such as the logistics centers in Uzbekistan or the Langyonggang port in China are highly relevant. Such centers will allow the main routes to be significantly unloaded and trade to Nava to be intensified. In this regard, the Uzbek-Chinese partnership serves as an important example with deep historical roots dating back to the area of the Great Silk Road and finding renewed meaning today. Uzbekistan and China are connected by centuries of international cooperation. Since ancient times, the lands of Central Asia, particularly Uzbekistan, were crossed by vibrant diplomatic, trade, and migration routes. This connection facilitated not only the establishment of strong contacts, but also the exchange of cultural achievements, scientific ideas, and technological innovations. The greatest flourishing of multifaceted relation came during the era of the Great Silk Road, whose historical centers include Uzbek cities such as Samarkand, Bukhara, and Tashkent. Already in antiquity, Zhang Xiang's mission to Central Asia, numerous trade caravans, diplomatic missions, and the participation of Uzbek scholars and craftsmen in Chinese development laid the foundation of trust and mutual respect. That's why I would like to mention Said Ajal Shamsuddin, who was governor of Yunnan province in time of Yuan Empire dynasty in the 15th century. And he contributed by constructing some water dam in Kunming, and at the same time developing agriculture. And he made a lot of contribution. Today, this development is seen within the framework of the Belt and Road. The president of our country, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, rightfully emphasized that the implementation of the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway project opened the shortest route from China to Central and South Asia, enabling the annual transportation of up to 15 million tons of cargo and creating real conditions for expanding trade and investment within both the Belt and Road Initiative and the SCO. Such a project clearly demonstrates how the alignment of the global initiative with the potential of the Belt and Road finds practical embodiment. Ultimately, deepening practical interaction within the SCO and the Belt and Road requires a three-stage approach. First, coordination of digital initiative. Second, integration of green finance with energy projects, and third, the creation of joint multimodal logistic platforms. Only in this way will strategic consensus be designed for real embodiment in the form of sustainable growth and higher prosperity of our peoples based on trust, sovereignty, and shared benefit.
China's achievements show that many pressing challenges can be addressed. In what areas can China's experience inspire other countries?
Thank you. Chinese development path indeed represent one of the most inspiring examples for SCO member states in three key directions. First, poverty elevation. China achieved the UN's 2030 goals on eradicating extreme poverty as early as 2020-2021, lifting nearly 100 million rural residents out of poverty, while 832 of the poorest counties and more than 120,000 villages were removed from the list of those in need. Today, China is ready to share its practices with the partners. In May 2025, it hosted the SCO Forum on Poverty Reduction and Sustainable Development, calling for the exchange of experience and practical cooperation. Second, technological leadership. In May 2025, at the Artificial Intelligence Forum in Tianjin, a project was presented to establish a China SCO Cooperation Center on AI applications, a center that will promote joint research, standards, open technological solution, and training of specialists. Third, governance and institutions. China consistently demonstrates a flexible and scalable governance system, applying decentralized poverty alleviation models into agency coordination for strategic planning in science and technology, such as Central Commission for Science and Technology. In some Chinese experience in poverty reduction, accelerated digitalization and institutional reforms can serve as a pragmatic reference point and an incentive for other SCO member states, especially when adapted to national conditions and political economic realities.
All right, thank you, Mr. Norov. Bye.